Hey, hello everybody, it's Deadbedspread, and my subscriber count just exploded. I have 15,500 as I'm writing this, nearly 17,000 while I'm recording it. Thank you all so much, it really just makes my day. It's something I have difficulty putting into words, but just know I appreciate all of you. I kind of missed out on most of the big subscriber count numbers to make like a subscriber special, so I figured why not just do another Q&A? Let's go.
What do you use to edit your videos?
I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I used to use iMovie and yeah, we don't talk about that.
Are there any recommended programs or equipment you would suggest using?
I mean, I've only used Premiere to edit. I can't really recommend anything else because I haven't used anything else. I also used to have like a basic ass vanilla brand drawing pad, then moved up to a Wacom Bamboo for a while. And then last year I decided to get a Huey on Canvas. While it's definitely not necessary if you are drawing, I would recommend having some sort of screen that you can draw onto directly, be it a drawing tablet specifically or something like an iPad. I drew for years on a typical tablet. I also used to ink with my mouse, so there's no rush to get a screen-based tablet. I mean, whatever works best for you will give the best result.
Around how much time do you spend on doing research for a Fakemon you want to create?
It varies. Sometimes ideas just come to you immediately from information you already know. Then other times you need to do mad in-depth research through the annals of the internet. I usually like to take my sweet time, probably too much time being honest. However, during Smogus 2021, I would sit down and do an entire research, concept, and rendering process in under 3 hours, every day, 31 times. It's honestly amazing what you can get done when you put your mind to something.
What's your process of creating a Fakemon? Like, do you choose an animal first, or do you choose the typing first?
I wouldn't say there's one definitive way. Sometimes you discover something new, an interesting fact or a myth, then think of a way to marry that into an existing being, resulting in a Pokemon. For instance, an old Fakemon I made, Boulevard, is a literal interpretation of a road snake, but also based off of gravity hills. Certain roads in Ireland where cars, when stopped, will seemingly roll uphill. Snakes are predators, so I turned this whimsical occurrence into something much more sinister. Other times then you just think of a clever name, and then try to make a cool design. For instance, what business does a snail have playing traditional Irish jigs? Well, such a social event is known as a Céilí. Those words have similar sounds, so as a result, we get Snaily, the folk music Pokemon. And then, yeah, sometimes you just on a certain type combination, like Fire Electric, Red Squirrel, Pikachu clone. Done.
What is your favorite part of the drawing process, i.e. sketching, inking, etc.?
I'd have to say definitely sketching. You get to figure out the design and all of its elements without properly committing to anything. Fixing a sketch is pretty easy. Fixing a colored inked image, not so much.
Thinking face emoji. Ellipsis. How are you?
Overall, I'm pretty good. I recently quit my job. I have no idea what I'm doing, but yeah, I'm pretty good.
What's your favorite/least favorite thing about Pokemon?
Generation 3, 4, and 5 are like my Pokemon sweet spot. So I enjoy each generation not having its own gimmick, like before Mega Evolution Z-Moves and Gigantamax were introduced. You could just like have a new Pokemon game. There's nothing to worry about. I love the pixel art style, especially Gen 5 when the mons moved. Seasons, I really like following Pokemon when they're not fucking shit. And I generally do like most Pokemon designs. My least favorite thing was everything that started leading into and revolving around Generation 8. People were giving out about the games, myself included, and threatening not to buy it. But then all of those naysayers just bought it anyway, so it's like, what was the point? BDSP were kind of actually garbage. And Legends is fine. I'm playing through it, but really only when I have nothing else to do. In thinking about it, Game Freak's etiquette is currently my least favorite thing about Pokemon. I think for the future they need to look backwards. These, in quotes, cartoons seem really uncanny when placed in realistic environments, and that just seems to be the direction they're going in. We have these 2D characters translated into 3D, but then they're trying to put them in this hyper-realistic environment. I just don't think it works, they look uncanny. When the environments have the same stylization as the characters, then we have a winner. Ding ding ding, pixel art, you got it.
If you were a character in a Pokemon game, who would you be?
So like other than myself? Okay, so if I'm an existing character, I guess Cyrus. I mean, everything is made up, life is meaningless. And apparently we're the same age, so does that. Also, his Ultra Sun and Moon remix slaps.
Do you think Pokemon will ever get a VR game?
I mean, it only took them until 2019 to be able to move the camera, so maybe by 2050 they'll have some VR capability. How new Pokemon Snap didn't include VR is just beyond me.
Will Deadbedspread be there?
The fun has arrived. What your most loved and most hated Pokemon type?
I don't know if I love or hate any types more so than others. Water and steel types have always both appealed to me, and I think it's ludicrous that we still only have one Pokemon with that type combination. Water ground types are my personal favorite, because, you know, they only have one weakness. Bunch of good boys there. And as for my most hated type, not that I hate any types, I'd have to say ice. It's a type that's always been there. It used to be the Dragon Killer. And Mamoswine is one of my favorite Pokemon, but it's a type that I never really paid much attention to in regards to what it resists and what it's not good against. Come Generation 7, when I'm playing Sun, I have a Crabrawler on my team for the whole game. It's only once I reach Mount Lanakila at the end of the game does it evolve into Crabominable. Alright, look, okay, it's a goofy design. I can appreciate the Yeti Crab influence, but it's a unique type combination. I find out one of the Elite Four is a flying type, so I'm like, hey, I guess I have a new advantage here. Well, it turns out that ice only resists itself. We might as well call it the glass type. A Pokemon that I'd taken on my entire journey just had to be boxed at the end of the game, as this new type it acquired had absolutely screwed me over. Game Freak, you gotta rebalance ice. I have some ideas. Call me.
If you would be a Pokemon, what one would you be?
If I had to be a Pokemon, probably a Rangaroo. Return to monkey.
Pokemon you think has the best design, and Pokemon you think has the worst design. Whatever your personal criteria is for each.
So not my favorite Pokemon, but best design. Okay, so outside of forms, there are 905 Pokemon. Picking one is too difficult, so here's 3. I really like Applin. Sudowoodo's fantastic, down to the fake type and its whole naming scheme. And Clauncher has just always appealed to me. It's probably the asymmetry in thinking about it. Well, look, I gave you 3 mons with good designs, so I guess I'll have to give you 3 with bad designs just to balance it out. Seaking! It's just a fish with a horn. Nothing more. It always looks sad. It's disgusting. Boring. Lucario is so overrated that it's not even funny. It's literally an edgy, big-nosed jackal wearing jorts. It's like it was one of those mons that was teased in the prior generation before being released, and I feel every kid at the time, including me, automatically thought it was cool because we were told to. Like, Game Freak were like, look at this new cool Pokemon, Lucario, and we were all like, oh my god, he's amazing. And then when you actually think about it, it's just, what's going on with this guy? I genuinely despise the Galar Starter's final evolutions, but I'm going to include Rillaboom here over the other 2. I mean, they're unsalvageable, but it's so close to being perfect. But the decision to give this gorilla a literal drum set brought it from like a 7 out of 10 design to an absolute 0. It's a gorilla. Have it beat its fucking chest. Oh my god.
If you were to be put in Pokemon, what would your team be? Any region. 1 mythical. And starter. Again,
there's 905 Pokemon, so that's a loaded question. I'd probably live in Unova or Alola. They seem to have the most balance between like technological advancement and stunning locations. Any mythical, you say? God. Although Deoxys and Melmetal are fucking cool, like, I can't deny that. 1 starter. Swampert, it's the only starter with 1 weakness. And it can get thick. And then let's say Drapion, Hisuian, Zoroark, Scizor, and Snorlax.
I'm trying to make a Pokemon region based on Ireland and I keep getting artist block. Love the videos.
I'm also making a region based off Ireland and we will not reveal any of his secrets. Big thank you.
Are you excited for the new Pokemon game they're coming out, and what is your favorite Pokemon Gen 1 to Gen 8?
I wouldn't say I'm excited, but I'm definitely interested to see what new Pokemon are introduced, and also for them just to confirm that Fuecoco is a horse. We all know it. Stop hiding the truth, Game Freak. Gen 5 is probably my favorite, but Gen 3 will always be in my heart.
What's your favorite Pokemon and shiny?
Stunfisk is my favorite Pokemon, but my favorite shiny... The shiny Primal Weather trio are, like, purposely cool. Like, it's almost too much, but, like, they're straight dope. Metagross, Chandelure, Mega Gengar, Clauncher, Sandygast, Applin. I also love when alternate forms have shinies that throw back to their original iteration. You know what I'm talking about, these guys.
Pokemon Waifu.
Yes. Yes. Yes!
Out of any animal that has yet been made an official Pokemon, which would you want to have you made one?
Gorilla. I actually made a video about this last year, so outside of anything in that, camelids. Yes, Camerupt is technically a camel, though it really just looks like a big cow with humps. I'm talking camels, alpacas, llamas. I'm sure it would be a fan favorite, and everybody would call it Cusco.
If you were able to make a Pokemon type, what would it be?
I would have said light, but since Gen 7 happened and it literally had like the light trio and it wasn't included there, it's probably never going to happen. I also previously would have said sound, but I'm not really feeling that anymore. So do you remember when Dragon was overpowered, so they introduced Fairy? Well, now Fairy is currently the big overpowered type that needs counters, and it's weak to kind of industrial types. So maybe something like Rubber, although maybe under a different name to include more mons and not to result in censoring issues. As for existing mons, I guess you could include it with Tangela, Wobbuffet, Goomy, Xurkitree. It might be a bit too out there, but maybe that's exactly what we need.
Yo, when are the next Pokemon Dawn and Dusk redesigns coming?
For those who don't know, Dawn and Dusk were the names of my fictional games tied to my old fake decks. I did 9 episodes reviewing this old decks titled Deadbedspread's Fakemon Reviews, which vary wildly in quality and span the course of like 3 years. I got about halfway through the decks and I've given conflicting information on this in the past, so here's what's gonna happen. I'm rebooting that series. I sort of did it last year with my 2 redesigning childhood Fakemon videos, which I made before I hit 1,000 subs and starting my own community. I didn't really put as much thought into those redesigns as I should have, and obviously that video exploded, so I got loads of constructive criticism. So yes, there will be a 3rd video featuring those starters, but it'll be the beginning of a complete series. To make sure of that, I'm going to get everything nearly complete and then start releasing the videos. Maybe weekly or bi-weekly alongside other content that I'm sure you will all enjoy.
What inspired you into drawing first Fakemon?
When you like a franchise from a young age and you're into art, fan art is only natural, including OCs, which, once enough people did and formed a community around, became known as Fakemon.
And what was the first Fakemon you ever created?
Oh gosh, let me think. I don't know if it's my first one ever, but I specifically remember something called Seedleodon, which evolved into Cyberdon when traded while holding an upgrade. Kind of like Porygon, I guess? Don't ask me what Seedleodon means or what it is. It was before I realized the Pokemon names are made up of multiple words. This is just kind of a big dinosaur that becomes a robot dinosaur. I thought robots and dinosaurs were cool. Can you blame me?
What is your top 3 best Fakemon made by you in your opinion?
I've made quite a lot by this point, so let me think. Swimbiote and its evolution Hostouge. I think it's a perfect blend of a real-life creature with that added pizzazz that makes a Pokemon tick. Also, it has loads of forms, which I think is really cool. Potagode is my take on a leprechaun while keeping it extremely non-stereotypical. It has a bit of a resemblance to Gengar, but the concept, you know, I like it. And I really like Gobsnacked. It's a fairly literal interpretation of a goblin shark, and its jaw slides the whole way out. But of course, I've lied to you. It's Deadbedspread, Shatter, and Splouter.
What are your top 3 Fakemon made by other people?
Fucking Christ, do you even know how broad a range that is? Do you know how hard it is for me to pick my top 3 official Pokemon from a list that's slightly over 900? There is no limit on Fakemon. I cannot possibly... Mirrorigus by JW Nuts, the Foliage line by Folens, and the Bolo line by Subjectively. I like Mimikmon, what can I say?
Are you doing a Fakemon region or just redesign Childhood 1, which I love by the way?
Okay, look, I'll admit it, it's confusing. But here's what's going down. I'm redesigning my childhood Fakemon, 151 of them, which had no region, they're not based on any location, that's 1. I will also be doing a Fakemon region from scratch at some point, which will be completely independent from the childhood decks. And thank you.
What the dog doing?
How the dog doing?
Where the dog doing?
Who the dog doing?
When the dog doing?
Why the dog the doing?
Can the dog doing?
Should the dog doing?
Could the dog
What
doing?
the dog doing?
What is the mischievous canine
In
doing?
which particular mundane or bizarre physical or mental activity is the
canine
dog?
is a bit wee
Scientific
mischievous.
name
The
Canis
little scoundrel
familiaris,
is partaking as a string.
Getting a fucking breath mint.
Do you want weed to be legal?
Yeah. Sprigatito, what up?
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
If you were given a job opportunity from NASA to shoot garbage into the sun with rail guns, would you take the job?
Are you asking me would I take an opportunity to use what is theoretically the most powerful gun on Earth to shoot garbage at such force that it flies into the sun and get paid for it? Yeah. Where do I sign up?
Okay, a more serious question. What's your favorite kind of weather?
So very specifically and kind of odd, overcast weather in a very large flat area. I know it's weird and not typical, but overcast skies make me feel comfortable. I am Irish. It's the best part to me of coming home from a sun holiday when the plane is landing and you descend from the sunny blue skies into the cloud layer and then you like come out and everything's grey and gloomy and I'm like, yes, I feel safe. That's a bit strange now that I say it out loud.
How many children do you have trapped in your basement?
Houses here typically don't come with basements, so none. My attic, though.
Favorite franchise other than Pokemon?
I do like a lot of things, but considering a franchise that hasn't outlasted its welcome, I guess it would have to be Monster Hunter. Which, like Pokemon, I started playing in Generation 3. There's something, that's something. We can work with this.
Where do babies come from?
Well, it looks like your Pokemon had an egg. I don't know how it got there, but your Pokemon had it. Do you want it?
How'd you get so handsome?
Trial and error. Lots of error. Over a long time.
Saberspark?
Your art style looks like Saberspark.
Is this Saberspark?
Well, does your character
It's
have the
Saberspark,
same style
bro.
as Saberspark?
Who is this discount
Australian
Pokemon
Saberspark?
Saberspark?
What's with the
Is your avatar
Saberspark
inspired by
stick?
Saberspark?
You look just like
Saberspark.
For those who stuck around, thank you all so much for watching. You can find the link to my Discord in the description to see what I'm up to. We're nearly at 100 members. It's very exciting. I won't keep you any longer. I've been Deadbedspread, and all the best.